Howdy folks, welcome back to Reading Held Hostage. My name's Blue and I love to read, and today we have two special guests.
Hi guys, my name is Faith. I'm Blue's sister.
I'm Maria, longtime family friend.
They're very uncomfortable being on but they're excited to be here, I think.
Excited.
Yes, we're very excited to be on the podcast.
Thank you for the invite.
A great place to be.
Thanks for being here. It's nice to not have Justin for once. He asks way too many actual structural questions, so I'm expecting...
We promise to
we are
only
getting
have
off
dumb
topic.
questions.
No, this is
perfect, because
yeah.
I'll need that friend. Today we're reading Ender's Game, so I want you both to tell me, like, less than a minute, what do you know about Ender's Game? Faye, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so Blue and I were actually read Ender's Game as children.
By our cousin.
We went on a road trip with our cousin, who's probably 20 at the time, and we were like maybe...
I was probably 12.
Yeah, 10 and 12, and we went on a road trip to Florida, and he read us Ender's Game, and I remember it being horrifying. I don't know if I remember it correctly. Most things...
You do.
I remember being horrifying.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
But that's really all the details I have. I know there is a young man, and I know space is involved somehow.
Yeah.
And I'd love to learn more.
Did you see the movie, Faye? Or do you remember seeing the movie?
I didn't see the movie.
Okay, that's okay.
Maria, on the other hand...
I'm sorry, that just
I know, I heard those
scared
movies
me.
too.
I read the book in high school, and I watched the movie a couple times because my brother liked it because he liked all kinds of, like, war movies and stuff. And so, like, I read and watched it, but it wasn't, like, my favorite thing. It just kind of stressed me out.
It is
so,
stressful.
Like, I know there's genocide. I know there's murder. I know there's a lot of child psychopaths.
Yeah.
And
That's a pretty good summary.
Yeah, there's like a battle school.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah, you know more than me. I know there's a recruitment process.
It's
I remember
true.
the actor has terrifyingly blue eyes.
His name
horrifying.
is Asa, I think. Yeah,
Asa?
A-S-A Butterfield.
You know, he was in the
that's
running
a
to be
strange-
Spider-Man. Like, he was really close to being Spider-Man instead of Andrew Garfield.
Oh, he's like really blonde now. Can you
And
guys see
then then he said he was in the running for Spider-Man. Oh my
That's
god.
the kid from The Boys.
And he got in trouble.
Wait, not from
No.
The Boys, from Sex Education?
Yeah, from Sex Education.
Okay, yeah,
I
didn't
really
watch
like that show.
one.
It has Gillian Anderson. For any
I
MILF
love
lovers out
her.
there, go ahead and watch Sex Education.
She's very important to me.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you first about Orson Scott Card, who wrote the book, because he's a piece of garbage.
Little author background, hit us with
Yeah,
it.
well, I think it's important because he's a super fucking racist. He doesn't believe that gay marriage should be, like, a thing, like, very big racist. He's
topic.
old, too. He was born in 51, so he's, like, boomer age.
Okay.
A little bit older than Mom Faye.
71, kind of.
60s.
Yeah, I think you guys are both right.
Yeah.
When was Mom born? Mom was born in 65. Okay, we're all like, wow, fucking old. No, I think you guys 70s is right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our parents are the same age.
Yeah, so he's a pretty serious, like, really bad racist. He's described himself as a moral conservative, which is, like, the worst way to describe yourself.
At least the people who are like, I'm socially liberal, fiscally conservative, are like,
Orson
at least
Scott
they're
Card was like-
trying to say something.
Bro,
It's
he
like,
didn't
no.
even hold back at all.
I'm definitely morally conservative.
I actually
100%.
fucking hate anything about that.
Oh my god.
So, he's super against gay marriage, like I said, and he believes that being gay is a result of exclusively childhood trauma, which, like, don't get me wrong, I think a lot of people who are queer have childhood trauma, but that's not what made them gay.
Yeah, correlation, not causation.
So, he's really bad, very bad boy, don't want to give him any money.
We
So
hate
we're
him.
not, yeah.
Only buy stuff secondhand.
And that's an old book, I
half-price
assume.
book.
It is an old book. I don't...
83.
Can I give a little context on Blue's library?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that too much?
No, you go ahead.
So, all through her life, Blue had a library, a very extensive library. that she
280
kept in her-
books.
280 books, and she knows that because she kept a detailed list of all of the
Blog.
books.
I can pull it up,
It's
too.
literally Blue's little library.
It
That's
is.
so cute. You should get a stamp.
Well, the thing,
I have
it was
one.
it was very
Good.
much like a library
Good, I'm
because in the rare chance that I wanted to borrow a book, I would have to sign a contract to check it out.
That's true.
It was very serious.
You weren't very good at returning it in the exact same condition.
Well, you have to open it to read it, so there's not
I
much
love a good spine crack.
I love a spine crack.
I understand the book thing. When I got in trouble when I was a kid, they would, like, take away my books because I didn't like anything else. So that was the only thing they could take away from me.
It makes me sad. I love books.
Yeah, they're the best.
Okay, are we ready to go, though?
Yeah.
Because I want to give a general summary of it first, because there's so much going on that I don't even want to consider, like, here's the, like, what's going on, like, in the background.
Yeah.
So it's in the far-ish future, and it's after 2 wars from this alien species. They're called the Formics, or buggers. They're like big ants. You've seen the movie, do you?
Isn't, like, bugger also,
God,
like, something... That's, like, also...
That's what British people say a lot.
Bugger off.
Bugger off. But they're these large aliens, and the last 2 wars almost destroyed the human race, which is ironic considering they now have a... Did you pull up a picture for it?
No, I was just... It refers to a person who penetrates the anus of someone during sexual intercourse, which would align with his
Which would align
beliefs.
very heavily with his beliefs.
I was just... Yeah.
That's like I've never even looked at us, so that's... there you go.
Background on bugger.
A little context on bugger for you.
There's, like, this international fleet called the IF, and they work with the government to, like, create, like, one, like, utopia-type society. Yeah. And they take the best and the brightest of, like, actual little kids, like 6-year-olds, to space for training. They have a common language, and it's standard to only have 2 kids, or at least that's, like, what the government provides schooling to. So you can have more than 2 kids, but it's, like, big shunned.
Like, they won't school the other one.
Yeah, they won't give the other ones schooling.
You can have more than 1 kid. You can have more than 2 kids, but the other ones are going to be dumb as fuck.
Dumb as rocks. Like, they just are going to be
like, good
little
fucking try with
kids.
that.
Okay, heard.
They also use, like, eugenics to produce, like, the good kids. You guys know eugenics? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
I know a thing or two.
I know a thing or two about eugenics. They also don't, like, have religion, so, like, having something religious is disgraceful. Like, any religion, not just, like, I don't know, what do...
Like a religion.
Yeah, so...
It's kind of inclusive.
That's kind of...
Good for you, Orson!
Go, Orson! Yes, speak on it!
Yeah, I guess because he would have been like, I don't know, let's make a... Although Ender makes up a religion, and it's actually really good.
Spoilers.
So. Ender is a 3rd, so like I said, you're only supposed to have 2, but he was born on purpose. Like, the what's it called? The government was like, we want you guys to have a 3rd because his older brother, Peter, and his older sister, Valentine, were, like, fucking geniuses. But Peter's a sociopath, and Valentine is too kind. So they were like, I don't know, like, have something in the middle.
Just try better.
Which is exactly how it works, too. You have a 1 crazy kid, 1 too kind kid, and then the 3rd one is a mix of the both of them.
You just have to manifest.
Yeah.
You're good. You just
That's kind of
set
how our
your
family
intention.
was.
That is kind of how our
Family, aw, that's so cute.
Am
For
I
reference,
crazy?
I'm a psychopath.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think I'm the
you're
crazy.
very kind. If one of us had to be...
If one of us had to be
choose
kind.
one, it would be blue.
Okay, so the government commissioned Ender's birth, so they technically own him, and they're convinced that he's going to be the one to defeat the buggers. But first, he has to become the one they want. So he has to, like, mold. They want to mold him into a sociopath, but also an empath. He's an empath. And he also has to believe that nobody ever is going to help him, which is, like, so sad. Because, again, he's 6 when this starts.
It's a
Is
little
that
Harry
like that?
Potter.
I feel like in the movie he's like 12.
Yeah, at the
beginning
end,
of the
he
movie.
is 12, but when it starts, he's 6. So it's only a 6-year gap.
Okay.
Does that make sense what I
feel
just
like
said?
I'm not remembering the movie right.
No, you're right. He starts, but the guy who plays him was older.
Is grown. Okay.
Yeah, he's a little bit older than me nowadays.
There's something about getting a hero in, like, a young adult fiction novel, and they're like, you have to be alone.
Except for Percy Jackson. We're gonna start though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna start with, like, this discussion between 2, what are they called, military guys, and they're like, yo, like, what are we doing with this kid? And the other guy's like, he's the one, bro. We gotta pull this monitor out and see how he does without it. So then the monitor is this little thing that they have in the back of his neck, and it's just what it sounds like. Monitors. It hears everything. It sees what it's in his spinal column, so it sees everything. So we start with that coming out. And also, I'll be flipping my pages today, so I got primary source, so. So he's excited to have it out, poor little Ender, but he's worried about what Peter, his actual psychopath of a brother, will do to him. He's like, maybe Peter will love me now because I'll have it gone, and that means I failed, but maybe he won't because he's a fucking psychopath. Hint, he doesn't. He almost dies, but it's chill. And he goes back to class. Yeah, because it's attached to his spinal column. Oh. So when they rip it out, the doctor's like, what the fuck?
Do they also put another one back in? Mm-mm. Oh, no, he's a free agent.
Yeah. So it feels like something's missing to him. Oh. And they can't see anything. I mean, they have cameras.
Does he know why they took it out?
He knows that when they took it out, that means he probably failed the,
so he has a different perspective from what's really happening.
Yeah, so what they're actually doing is seeing what he's going to do without it. Because he gets bullied by these kids in school. And at the end of class...
I remember
this. You remember, yeah.
This is the one scene I remember.
It's really horrifying.
Yeah.
How loud that was.
No, you're good.
A wallflower.
Yeah, he's just a kid.
Yeah.
And he's like, gets circled up by these boys, and like, this one kid named Stiltson is like, you're Ender, you're third. And Ender's like, fight me then. Fucking fight me. And Ender just fucking beats the shit out of this kid. 6 years old. He gets this kid on the ground somehow and then kicks the shit out of him while he's down. Because his goal, I know, he's like, in his brain, he's like, I know I shouldn't be doing this. Like, this is the one rule, like, don't kick while you're down. But he's like, if I don't, then he could come back and hurt me more.
Survival instincts are good there.
It's weird because I don't remember I remember the scene in extreme detail.
Do you want me to read it in extreme detail?
I remember.
Yeah.
I think
unless you'd like to.
No. It's pretty aggressive.
Share with the class.
He like grabs him by the arm and throws him down and then kicks him to death. He does die, this little boy.
Wait,
but he doesn't know he dies.
He doesn't know he dies until No, you're right. Okay. You can say that.
No spoilers, Space. God.
They don't tell him he dies because he needs his.
He needs to know. He doesn't want to hurt people. Okay. And if he thought he had killed, they were worried he was going to turn out like Peter, his older brother. Which the next chapter is about Peter, and it always starts with like a convo between the like government guys, and they're like, "How's he doing?" And they're like, "He's a fucking little kid. Like,
what can you say about it?
He's a little kid. Like, we're afraid of what the brother's gonna do, but like that's more of the testing is what is he gonna do about the brother." And so, you know, he goes home. His sister's really nice to him. His brother's a jackass, and he's like, "Let's play buggers and astronauts," and then proceeds to like get Ender on the ground with a knee in his back, and he's like, "I could straight up kill you right now." And Valentine, his sister, is just like chilling, and she's like, "You won't, like, you wouldn't do it." Well, no, she's like, "If you did, I'd tell." And Peter's like, "Well, I'd kill you too." And she's like, "Yeah, are they gonna believe you killed both of us by accident?"
That's a hard one to pull
off. Hard sell.
And they're all really fucking smart, so they're all having like this crazy intelligent conversation. So while Valentine's doing that, Peter's like, they just like have this big discussion of how Peter would kill them both. Eventually, Valentine would die. Their parents wouldn't know because everybody loves Peter, and Peter's 10.
Wait, so do the people not know he's a sociopath?
No, that's the one thing about sociopaths is they're really good at tricking people.
So he has like crazy charisma.
Mm-hmm. So he tricks everybody except for Valentine and Ender.
So how did the government officials know they needed another kid?
Maybe just through the testing, they were like, he's too violent in his, like,
so but the family doesn't know.
No. The family just knows that he tested out. Valentine knows he's a fucking psychopath.
But the government knows, but parents don't.
Yeah, so they commissioned, like, Peter got born, and they were like, that kid's really smart. They commissioned a girl next, because at 2, he was already so violent, they couldn't do that. They see everything. Like, there's nothing they miss. And then Valentine was too kind, so they then commissioned Ender.
Good for Valentine.
I know, right?
Just being so nice.
She made it out.
She did. She's not part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, she's out. She's good.
So yeah, they have that really big discussion. And you know, they're like chill. They have dinner with their parents. Their parents are like so not important in this. Because they're just not. But at the end of like the night when Peter thinks Ender's asleep, he like comes up to him and he's like, I'm so sorry. I know it sucks to lose your like monitor and like I love you, you're my little brother, which is just so out of character for him, and they, like, never discuss it again.
Oh. Maybe it's,
no twist?
No twist?
No, he's a sociopath.
but it's just like one time he just shows
Yeah.
empathy for no reason.
Which is good because the next day is the day he leaves.
Oh, okay.
So they've decided, like, the two discussion, they're like, the sister's the weak link. We need to kind of separate them because he loves her more than he loves her parent. Like, more than he loves their parents. So they're like, how are we going to do that? And the one guy's like, his name's Graf. He's the important IF member. And he's like, let's just ask him to come to the school and see how he feels. Like, we'll just tell him as much of the truth as we can. So.
And he's still 6.
6 years
at
old.
this point.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
Just establishing.
Yeah, the timeline's a little wonky, but he is 6. And that morning at breakfast, they get a knock, and it's Graf. And Graf comes in, and the parents are like, Ender, you didn't tell us you beat the shit out of a kid the other day. And Ender's like, sorry.
Like, oops.
It didn't come up.
It didn't.
It
Like,
didn't
why would you bring it
You
up?
guys didn't ask.
Yeah.
Maybe if you asked, how was your day at school, I would have told
Yeah.
you.
How is Peter? Oh, he almost fucking killed me. And the parents would be like, ha, ha, ha. That's so funny. So then they're like, the Graf is like, I need to talk to Ender. Did you enjoy? You kicked the shit out of him. And he's like, I didn't enjoy that. I did it so he would never hurt me again. The gang was there. I needed to win. I bumped the
You
mic.
had to establish dominance.
Yeah, he needed to win the whole battle, not just like the one fight. So they kind of decide like that is his final test was that discussion. So they're like, cool, we'd like for you to come to the battle school. And his parents are like, you can't do that. And they're like, we literally fucking own him. Like, you can't have him. Like, we own him. So,
That's my property.
yeah, I mean, he's
Government mandated child.
yeah. So, like, the opposite, which is funny because they're like, the buggers almost took out all of our population. And they're like, actually, just 2. Just 2 kids. That's it. It's just government control. Graf is telling him kind of as much as the truth about the situation as possible, which we've already discussed. The sister was smart, brother was smart, but they want Ender. And they believe that Ender is going to be the only one who's going to be able to save them. They're going to have, it's going to be battle school. They're going to learn, like, military history. They're going to have a game, war games. And then this is very Orson Scott Card because Ender's like, is it all boys? And Graf goes, just a few girls. They don't often pass the test to get in. Too many centuries of evolution working against them.
Oh, he's so right.
Like, we're all so
literally
dumb.
me. I'm just too dumb
How can
to
I
do
even
battle
read
school.
this?
Wow.
Evolution's
bullshit.
working for them.
Honestly, like, yeah, keep me out of it.
I don't wanna go
maybe
up there.
evolution helped me out a little bit there.
I'm
like,
really
thank you.
grateful to have empathy.
Yeah,
Literally.
no, I'm
God forbid.
God
Sorry.
forbid you can feel things. So
He decides to go, and he's like, you can't change your mind. You'll get your first, leave at 12, and then your first something else at 18. So basically he's not going to see his family for like 6 to 10 years. And his sweet sister, like, as he leaves, she's the only one he cares about. She's like, come back to me, I love you forever. And I'm like,
That's cute.
she's only 8 too, so it's like, you guys are just little fucking babies.
They're just little guys.
All right, so then they have to go on the, what's it called? Guys.
The ship.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
the ship.
the
Thanks,
vessel.
Faye. The vessel. That also
The vessel.
Just want to grab that. The military folks are talking about how they're going to have to isolate him, like completely isolate him from everybody so that they can know, so that Ender knows that nobody's going to be there for him, which is, again, 6 years old. So sad. He's not allowed to have friends. He's not allowed to feel like any adult is going to help him.
I'm sensing some Darwinism. Like some survival of the fittest.
Yeah, when it's like, he's just a little
well,
boy.
because it's obviously been proven that without any support, children do much better.
Yeah.
That's obviously,
obviously
like
the exact
scientifically.
case.
I've heard that before.
Everybody says it.
If you
like,
just Spartan them and just throw them out in the woods, I've heard almost all the kids survive.
like you're supposed to throw them off cliffs. Like that's
Pretty
how they
much.
get strong.
So they get on this ship with the other launch group, and there's like a couple other boys on the what are they called? On the chairs. And Ender immediately notices as they're climbing into the ship that all the boys, like, it's this weird, I can't like go into it because it's like it's easier to read, but like directions change in space. So like down is not down, up is not up.
like in the ocean kind of.
Yeah, it's like the directions are very relative. So Ender gets that right away and he's like, I'm gonna buckle myself proper. He's like, that's this, and he does that. And then Graf comes in and he's like, yeah, everyone's like, why are you all so fucking dumb? Ender figured it out right away. And
so now he looks like
So now he's turning everyone against
yeah, so now
him.
he's like the smart kid who can figure it out really easy.
Yeah, teacher's pet.
And Ender's just like, what the fuck is going on?
I put my fucking seatbelt on.
My safety precaution.
Yeah.
I'm getting prosecuted.
And some kid starts bullying him, so he pulls the kid and he breaks his arm.
Oh,
Right off the bat. Ender,
I mean, honestly, like,
if you're getting bullied, you have, like, hit back a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like, at least you didn't kill this kid.
is he the boy from The Boy in the Striped Pajamas?
Yeah, I think so.
Ender's Game guy.
Yeah,
I'm
with
sorry,
the little blue
it just
eyes
hit me.
and the dark hair. No,
Completely
you're
irrelevant.
Yeah.
good. And Ender does realize that, like, Graf is separating him from this. And, like, when they get off, what's his name? Graf and Ender's like, what the fuck is going on? And Graf's like, deal with it. And Ender's like, okay.
Deal with it, punk.
So when they're talking, the big boys, they're kind of like, what am I supposed to do? And he's like, you let a kid get his fucking arm broken. And he's like, for the greater good.
It's like, obviously there's a bigger plan in action.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously it's fine.
And they're like, okay, we just need to see, like, what's going on. We need to see what's going on. And, like, he's not allowed to have friends. They can't do shit. And it's like, you already are really mean to him. Again, he's 6. He's just a little baby.
Is this a kid?
Just a tiny little
Just
guy.
a little guy. Just a little guy.
Much smarter than I was at
Yo, he's fucking
6 years old.
They're doing, like, he's, like, algebra in 6th grade, first of all. Or at age 6, so that's 1st grade. They don't start teaching, like, real algebra until, like, 6th grade.
Yeah, they waited out.
Yeah, and so
Weird.
in the book, when he's like, algebra, Valentine taught me this 4 years ago. And I'm like,
When he
Valentine
was
was
2?
4, and he was 2.
I call
Yeah,
bullshit.
I call big fat liar.
Also, these
Bullshit.
parents, like, again, they're not important, but I'm like, should they be?
What? Yeah, why aren't the parents teaching? Like,
I mean,
I guess if your kid is smarter than you, I guess you would just go, yeah,
yeah,
just
okay,
fucking
just
teach
do
him.
some maths.
Yeah,
I don't
whatever.
fucking know. But he gets to the school, he gets his bunk, and he opens up this thing called a desk, which is just their version of a computer. They meet Dap, who's their parental caretaker, their mom, not their papa. And we're just gonna keep going because we totally didn't have five minutes of laughter about something else there.
Mm-mm.
Ender meets an older kid, and the kid's 13, and Ender's like, oh my gosh, he has a man's growth. And I'm like, ew, he's still a baby. The way Orson Scott Card describes some of these men is very homoerotic.
That only tracks.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
not
describing a
comfortable.
13-year-old as having man's growth is definitely stems from something.
It's like the Game of Thrones phenomenon where like Daenerys is like 13
Oh my
in the
God.
books, and then but always in the movies they have to make him older. and
That's
they
why I
should say or
keep
something.
mentioning his age. I'm like, he's just a little tiny
He's-
baby.
He's a child
little
for
baby.
context. Adults don't know how to write children.
Oh my God, they totally
No,
don't.
they don't.
Okay, so he just like kind of does school and stuff, and he they have like a arcade there, and so he's like, I want to play that game with all these older boys, and they have this like weird ass lingo they talk, and they're like, get the fuck out of here, basically. But yeah, so he kicks their ass at this game, and he now is like their enemy, like because he just kicked their asses at this game in front of all of them. And Ender's new bully is named Bernard. And yeah, I know, right?
What a loser.
Whenever I hear Bernard, I always think of the elf from the Santa Claus.
Yeah,
Is Bernie
yeah.
Sanders' full name Bernard? Is he Bernard Sanders, or is he just Bernie?
I don't know. Let's look that up real quick.
I feel like
Fact check.
the internet would have taken advantage of that.
I don't know. I guess like
You're right. It's Bernard.
It's Bernard.
Bernard
Middle name?
Sanders.
Middle name.
Oh, I don't see a middle name.
Is he one of those like his parents just like forgot?
They must have. No middle name. Kind of a loser.
Grow up, Bernie. Get a middle name. Like
Get
the
a
rest
middle
of
name.
us.
Kind of
God,
fucking loser. But Ender decides to deal with this bully. He's gonna do things a little differently and not kick the shit out of him. He already did that. He already broke his arm. So he's going to take all of his friends away. Which is like...
A little
Okay, social tactics.
Yeah.
Yeah, me girl fine.
So he becomes... I love you guys, the way you talk. He becomes friend with somebody named Alai and somebody named Shen. And Alai ends up becoming like one of his best friends ever. And they're so cute and I love them. Okay, so then they get in the battle room. And the battle room in the movie is really a good scene. You know what I'm talking about, Maria.
The battle room?
Yeah.
Oh, like when he gets like
Yeah, he gets strapped
and
in.
all the kids are like...
In the room,
Yeah.
yeah. It's 0G. And of course, Ender's like...
Oh, yeah! This one's crazy, I find... Sorry. It's a crazy scene.
Ender's really good at it. He gets everything right. Bernard is pissed, and I just found the spelling of Alai, and I was wrong. It's A-L-A-I.
Oh, okay.
Alai.
Yeah.
Okay. Valid.
And this is when him and Alai become really good friends. They start, like, figuring things out, like, different maneuvers. And, you know, they're just good at it. And then he plays this game on his computer. It's called The Giant's Drink. And it's like every time he's sitting in front of a giant, he has to pick a drink and one of them's poison and he dies. And every single time he picks a drink and he dies.
That's like The Princess Bride.
Is it? Yeah, I hear what
do
you're
you
saying.
mean sitting in front of a giant?
It's like a game,
Like the
a
giant
computer
is
game.
sitting there and he has 3, like, say, goblets
Yeah.
in front of him and you just have to... It's like just a chance game.
Oh.
Yeah, but every time he picks one, he dies.
He flops.
So he's pissed.
Oh.
And he's so pissed, he decides to... This is going to gross you out, Faye.
Cool. Ready.
Jump into the giant's eye and rip it out so the giant dies.
It's a really inventive way to...
Yeah, and the giant dies.
How'd he get up there? He did that with his hands. He got into the eyeball.
Yeah, he climbed up and then got into his eyeball.
You'd have to go, like, around the lid.
Yeah, no, you'd have to get in there. And the giant was just, like, taking it.
Yeah, probably.
Like
I mean, the game
I
was
guess
like...
he's not programmed to
Yeah, the
fight
game
back.
was like, yo, what the fuck?
He's like, whoa, dude.
Well,
It's not that serious.
they keep talking about it, and they're like, he keeps fucking doing this game, because then he's like in Fairyland. He says, "Welcome to Fairyland," and the next like bit is they're like, "What the fuck's Fairyland?"
What is Fairyland?
Wait, he just, like, made Fairyland?
Yeah. So I'll say at the end of this though, he feels like he doesn't mean to have killed the giant, and that he feels that he's a murderer now because he feels like he's Peter, which is like kind of sad.
I mean, you did rip out somebody's eyeball.
He did
So
very aggressively murder a giant.
I hear his worry
It's
there.
CGI.
CGI.
Ah,
Thanks, guys.
That was good.
Good job, Faye. They're talking now, the military guys, and they're like, yo, how did he do that? And there's like, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, who would have thought? And they're like, he won a game that couldn't be won. Like, how did he do that? And they're like, I guess you can move him now. So what they're talking about is he moves into an army now.
So he just wins, like, some game on his computer, and
Yeah.
they're like, yes, okay,
They're like-
you're good for the battlefield.
Pretty
games.
much. Like, when they took out his monitor and he beat the kid to death, they were like, cool, he just killed that
Yeah,
giant.
you're perfect.
Killing is like, check.
That's
Perfect.
your success.
We could learn from that.
Killing, but then feeling a little bit bad about it.
Yeah,
That's
feeling like
their-
you didn't want to have done
Yeah.
Like, that was... I feel like that was naughty.
that. That was
That was Loki kind of like...
a little tisk
I
there.
feel like it wasn't a good thing.
Well,
what I
because, like,
said.
psychology-wise, guys, I listen to a lot of true crime. It's almost disgusting. You can't actually diagnose somebody under the age of 18 as a sociopath or a psychopath.
Yeah.
You're not, like, they don't let you,
have
do
to
that.
give them... It's like some sort of...
It's a personality disorder. It's like something personality disorder.
I know what it is, but I just...
Yeah, me too. I can't think of the name. But you can't technically, because your brains aren't developed enough. So, like, at least he is feeling bad. Because, like...
Counts for something.
Yeah, I mean, don't
Gets
kill.
points.
But he gets pushed into Salamander Army. And him and Alai are saying their goodbyes, and he's like, I can't cry, because he doesn't want to show he's weak. And as he's heading out, this is so sweet, Alai, like, gives him a hug, gives him a kiss on the cheek, and says salam. And it's like, aww. Because salam is a religious word, and again, they're not supposed to have any religion at all.
So it has, like, deeper...
Yeah, it's like a shared secret between the two of them, and, like, Ender knows that that's forbidden, and they're like, good friends.
That's
couple of
yeah,
besties.
besties.
Yeah, and remember, he's not allowed to have besties.
I think that's his bestie. Oh, he's 6, sorry.
Yeah, he's
It
6.
was like
Sexualizing
Loki,
the
like they're besties.
I'll
kind
do
of besties.
anything to find a gay plot line. That's on me.
Well, no, I was thinking it too. It was just.
Yeah, I think they're just like good
I wasn't
boys right
kissing
now.
my friends.
Was I? No, I was bullying mine.
Yeah, I was probably just punching
What
the
she
shit out of
means
them.
us. There were no friends.
But that I mean, these two right here. Before he heads to the army, he plays the fairy game again, the Giants game. And the giant, is still dead, but they, like, something, like, these creatures had built into the corpse. So, like, they used the rib cage and stuff as other things. And he finds, like, a playground, and there's other children there. And this is, like, very meta, because he gets in line for the slide, but he falls through the slide. He's not allowed to play. Blah-bitty-blah-bitty-blah. And, these, like, children are having so much fun, and then he, like, goes into another part, and they turn into wolves and try to kill him. And they keep killing him, and he keeps killing him. So then he has to figure out how to kill them, and then eventually he does. He drowns them in a river. And he ends up in a new spot, and it's called the End of the World. Oh. And so he goes in there, and he falls, and he does all this kind of stuff. And there's a rug, and it turns into a snake. This is very meta. And it says, "I'm your only escape. Death is your only weapon." And before he can do anything, it's like, it turns off, and it's like, you have to go to your new army. Because...
The snake said that?
No, the game turns off, and it's like...
The words, like...
Yeah, they pop up, and it's like, you have to go. And he's pissed. He's like, what the fuck is the end of the world?
Huh.
I will say that...
I have an Armageddon joke.
Yeah, Faye, go ahead.
So...
I'm sorry, I was a lot of pressure. It's just the end
It's
of the
okay.
world was relevant.
So, it's like, sometimes when it's like... I don't know what every word means, I'm not an English major.
Mm-hmm.
But this thing's like, so what if I don't know what Armageddon means? It's not the end of the world. Thank you.
Good job,
Thank
Faye.
you, Faye.
Your
That-
contribution is
That was
important.
a good joke. I felt it was relevant to them.
Thank you.
Oh, shoot.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to figure out where I am. He ends up in Salamander Army, and these boys are like 10, 11, 12. The youngest being 8, so he's, again, still 6 years old. So that's, like, a pretty huge age difference, like, physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Especially between 6 and 10. Even 8 and, like, 6 is, like, crazy.
That's like 4th graders and like 5th graders and like a 1st grader.
Yeah, literally. And you're like,
chilling.
the thing's, like, this big. They
Yeah.
haven't even, like, they're not, like, actual human-sized yet. They're still toddler-sized.
Not at all. Their bones aren't even real.
That's true. He gets there and they're like, who the fuck are you? And he's like, I'm supposed to be here. Like, look, I got this little bit of paper. He's supposed to talk to Bonzo Madrid. Guess where he's from?
Would it happen to be
Could
a
it
Hispanic
possibly
country?
be-
Maybe even Spain?
How'd you guys guess?
You know, it's hard.
Did you meet a lot of
sometimes
bonzos in
Yeah,
Spain?
so I actually travel.
So I actually did a study abroad.
I know a lot of people wouldn't pick up on a reference like that.
Did you guys meet a lot
but
of bonzos?
I didn't mean one
There were
single
No
Bonzo.
bonzos like
everywhere.
crazy. It was bonzos out the wazoo.
Especially in Madrid, believe it or not.
Believe it or
So
not,
many
really
bonzos.
popular name.
He speaks in Spanish. He's like, hey, it's Bonzo. And then he goes, we only speak Spanish here. But he says it in Spanish. And it's like, okay. I think Orson Scott Card's like, I'm not racist. And it's like, you named the Hispanic character Bonzo Madrid.
Bonzo Madrid, especially if like, it'd almost be better if Bonzo was more stereotypical. Like,
Yeah.
where did he find Bonzo?
Like, who's bonzo?
It sounds like a clown name, which I'm gonna feel bad about if that's an actual Spanish name I haven't heard.
No,
It doesn't sound Spanish.
This
No, it
man has
doesn't.
never met a
I can't
Spanish
even say it with a
person in his
Spanish, like
life.
Bonzo.
Bonzo? Yeah.
Bonzo Madrid.
Bonzo. Bonzed Madrid.
Bonzed.
He's like that.
Terrible.
And he also meets a woman in this army. Her name's Petra Arcanian. She's the only girl, and she's got more balls than anybody else in the room.
well, she's the tough girl. She's not like other girls. She's strong.
Yeah, evolution didn't hurt her.
No, her female line stayed pure.
Mm-hmm. Yep, gotta be.
Call back to the eugenics line.
We gotta love a little eugenics. She actually ends up with a character in this book, and it grosses me out because they met as babies, and it's like you're actual little babies.
Oh. Are they still babies?
When they're together.
Like 14 and 17.
I'll let it slide. Let the record show me and
14
Maria
and
are gonna let it slide.
14 and 17?
Oh, 14 and 17?
That's pretty bad.
But they've known each other since Bean was 4. Or Bean was 6, and Petra was 10.
You know what? I'm gonna let it slide.
I'm gonna let it simmer.
Okay.
I've got to
They
think
got
about it.
6-year-olds kicking 11-year-olds' asses.
I guess
That's a good point.
like, I don't... It's really hard to gauge because these don't seem to be normal children.
Yeah, also Bean is the smartest person in the whole... So Bean is like the second Ender, so like Ender obviously kicks ass, but Bean has like a trigger in his brain, like a doctor was like doing actual eugenics with embryos, triggered something in it, and then made like really fucking smart kids. So Bean learned to read by himself at like 3 months old.
You can't even flip a... You don't even have knuckles yet.
No, he learned because he had to start moving around because they were killing all the other children.
Oh.
In his, what's organ? Are these organs?
What's really interesting is that the author seems to be a fan of... What? Those are organs?
No, go ahead, keep going.
Oh, just that he seems to, like, be a fan of eugenics. And
I
then
know.
in this book, it's just a big commentary about how eugenics are bad.
I know.
So
it's like...
It's just it's funny to me.
Yeah. So Bean's a good boy. Bean's like Ender, but he's younger. So he's like just 2 years behind Ender. So if Ender cracked...
4?
Mm-hmm. And he's premature, small, like tiny, like looks like a 2-year-old. We can do Ender's Shadow, because I really like Bean's story more. I think Ender's pompous. He's like, I'm better than everybody. And Bean's like, you guys know the real reason we're up here is because they're taking all the smart kids from Earth so that we don't start wars down there, right? Whereas Ender's like, I won the battle.
And I'm so smart.
Yeah, and Bean's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, and he's writing like these essays. And
He's like a
sending
4-year-old writing a dissertation.
Literally. He's like... Plus, he was like, he grew up on the streets. I really like Bean more. We should do that one too. Anyway, Bonzo. Back to Bonzo. So he's in this new army, and Bonzo's a piece of shit. So Bonzo fucking hates him. And he's like, don't do shit. Like, don't even actually come in the room until like 4 minutes after we have our battles. So basically, like, they go into the Null G, and Ender's like, they're all really fucking bad. Like, I could do way fucking better than all of them. Petra's their best sharpshooter, but then they have these things called tunes, so they just, like, separate out, and, like, everybody leads. And he's really bad. So then he gets... Is this when he meets Dink? I have to go back.
Not Dink.
No,
Dink.
Dink's a good boy.
Oh, we love Dink.
I have a plant called Mayor Dinky.
A
Wait,
plant?
who is that? Is that the...
That's the one we keep outside.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
we hate him. I wanted to give him a big goofy
He is
name.
Mayor Dinky.
Mayor Dinky. So.
Cute. No, I like that. Sorry. Petra offers to give him some extra training, and he's like, hell yeah. Because apparently the battle room is open at all times, and so he can like train at any time, and Bonzo's like, I don't want you to train with me at all. Like, I don't even want you in the room. Because he's 6. Like, he's supposed to get upgraded at 8. So he's already way ahead of the curve, and he's tiny, and Bonzo's an asshole. So she teaches him, and then he's like, well, Petra during once, and then he's like, well, I still need training. So he goes back to his old launch group, and he's like, you guys want to fucking train? Like, okay. I need you. Faye, you can yawn. It's okay. So they all train. All the launch. They're called launchies, and it's like freshmen, like freshman.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, you get exactly. Mm-hmm, yeah, you
little launchy.
So
Launchy,
then
raunchy.
What'd you say?
You raunchy loser.
Ooh, that would be good. They use really fucking weird slang. They're like, no, we're practicing with those little farts.
Oh no,
and that's
we'd be way
Bonzo. And then
better.
Ender goes, may I speak to you privately?
Oh.
Ender.
Ender's 6, Bonzo's like 11. That would be so intimidating.
Bonzo's 11.
In my head, Bonzo's like
Bonzo was grown.
Bonzo's a baby.
Bonzo Madrid. Wait, but he's the leader.
He's the commander of Salamander Army. They're only 12.
I was assuming they had like a grown
I'm
up
not
like
sure
guiding them. Like
No,
Bonzo to me he was.
No, he's a baby.
man.
To be honest, he was like an old man with like clown makeup on. Like,
I see him as my Spanish professor that I currently have. So.
No, he's just a little tiny 11-year-old.
Okay, well, unfortunately, you won't be able to get rid of the image I have in my head already.
That's okay. We can live with it. Oh, because that makes this conversation funnier. Because Ender had said, like, don't practice with them in front of, or Bonzo said that in front of everybody, and Ender was like, can I speak to you privately? And Ender comes out and he's like, listen, like, you don't like me, I don't like you. I have to train with them and you can't say shit about it. You can't do anything about it. And he's like, how about tomorrow morning you tell the rest of the group that this was your idea and you let me train with them. And he's like, is that fair? And Bonzo's pissed. He's furious. He calls him like a bastard and he's like really fucking mad. And so
I don't think bastards are possible in this universe.
I don't think they are either.
I don't think.
He wasn't born out of wedlock because his parents were married, but then somebody stole the fertilized embryo and like continued the growth of it. What do we call that? Jesus?
Jesus Christ, our Savior.
I don't really know if we have a term for that yet.
We'll
work
come up
on
with
it.
that,
We'll
yeah.
workshop.
By the time we read Under Shadow, we'll have something good for that.
Okay.
No worries.
So Bonzo's like, I'll have your ass someday, and not in like a gay way. So they go about that, and Salamander Army like continues to battle, and Bonzo's like, don't fucking come in here. But basically at the end of this, they lose, and Ender knew he could have won, like he could have helped win it, but Bonzo was like, don't fucking do shit, like just be still. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, he won't let him fight.
Yeah. So then he's 7 years old now.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Yay, happy birthday, Ender.
And in the next battle, they are losing really, really bad, but he ends up like pulling his gun out like without Bonzo's orders and kicking the team's ass. And eventually Wiggin, that's his last name, Ender Wiggin. Bonzo trades Ender to Rat Army. So they like trade them like
They have multiple child armies going on.
they have like 40 armies.
Okay.
Oh.
They're all kids.
Little
They're all
kids under the
children.
age of 12 usually.
Okay,
And
awesome.
16 at the oldest.
Okay. Are
What?
there no adults around anyone?
Very few,
Okay.
like teachers and like commanders of like military things.
Interesting.
So like Graf's an adult.
Okay. Yeah, I was hoping he was.
Yeah. Well, he allowed everybody to hurt. And fucking as he heads out, like Bonzo's like, you disobeyed me, and fucking Bonzo slugs him right in the stomach. Really fucking hard.
Wins his ass.
And slaps him in the face. Like beats Ender. And Ender knows that like he's like, Bonzo, you're fucking moron. Like, you're not getting your fucking army together. You're hurting yourself in this because they're not going to see you. They're going to see you beating a 6-year-old.
And
Yeah.
it's an embarrassing look.
Yeah, and
it's-
also he wasn't like kicking on his ass. He's kind of like bitch slapping him. Like those are kind of bitch moves.
No, it's like, just if you're gonna beat me up, like break a
Yeah.
bone. Like I
Yeah.
killed someone when I was 6.
Yeah.
And like the worst you can do is bitch slap me a little
and a
bit.
stomach punch.
Like that's
fucking pussy
cheap.
low-key.
You might as well hit me in the balls. you
Yeah,
know?
and Ender's not even fighting back, which would be so embarrassing.
Oh my god, that's so embarrassing.
But Ender takes the next day to sign up for a fight course. What are those called? Personal self-defense course.
Okay.
He takes care of
Okay,
himself.
they got extracurriculars.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
Extracurriculars.
Could be worse.
Well-rounded.
Yeah.
They're very
he's a
well-rounded.
well-rounded child in space
sounds
without
like
parents
it.
or anything.
Yes, yeah.
The next discussion we hear between the two old people is that Graf is asking somebody else to make the game unfair. So make like the battle room game like as unfair as possible. He's like, how am I gonna do that? And he's like, you just gotta. Like, it's how we're gonna make Ender good. And basically they also talk about the what like is going on Earth, like politically wise, and it's like not super important, but
Yeah, I feel it.
basically it's teetering on the edge.
Okay, so like real life or updated.
Yeah, so you got it. Oh god. I'm going to read this exact note. So he goes to Rat Army, and the leader of Rat Army is, I'm just going to say, I Rose de Nose, Jew boy extraordinaire, and you ain't nothing but a pinhead pinpick of a goy. Don't you forget it.
Oh.
I hate that.
His name's Rose the Nose. That's the only name they give him.
Well, that's the worst thing I've ever
So
heard.
in the book, or I listened to it, and they did use, the K slur. I don't think it's in the written book that I have, which
Oh,
no, it's right here. It's right here.
Okay.
Because they call his army, Rat Army, the K-word force.
That's not funny.
It's a little funny. Just a smidge. Bad. Very bad.
Very bad.
It's just, it's funny in the way of, you can't even, wrap your head around how somebody came up with that.
Why would you write that?
It's where in your head is, that's your progression.
Yeah. So apparently there's, this myth that Jewish generals don't lose wars. So, Rose the Nose is, very, very Jewish.
So far we've had Bonzo Madrid and Rose the Nose.
Jew boy extraordinaire. Don't forget his subtitle.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Can't miss.
yeah,
You really can't miss. Sorry.
No, you're good. It's unfortunate. But Dink Meeker said that he wanted Ender on his team. And this is kind of where Ender learns that Rose is not really the big guy in charge of Rat Army. Dink is a lot more in command, but he doesn't allow them to promote him. Mm. So because he doesn't believe of anything in what they're saying. He's a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, okay.
So they start learning everything, and Ender teaches it to his group of launchy friends, and it's just kind of like that. So they win another game, they battle, and stuff like that goes on, and then at the end of each battle, or at the end of each practice, Ender's watching Dink, and Dink just strips and then goes into the null gravity and just fucking vibes.
Just naked vibe,
Yeah.
and zero gravity.
Yeah.
That sounds
I
just
respect this.
Right?
Oh my God.
He's 11.
Like a sensory
putting that just in
deprivation
case.
tank.
Yeah, very nice. And Ender's yo, what the fuck was that? And Dink's I'm not gonna let him do it. He turns into total conspiracy. He's I'm not gonna let him do it to me. They can't fucking do this shit to me. I'm not gonna turn into one of their fucking cogs. And he goes into full conspiracy theorist. 100%.
To
be fair,
He's
they're
right.
in a very
Conspiracies.
weird situation.
Yeah, so he's actually really close to right. He's he doesn't even believe in the buggers.
Just thinks they're fakies.
Mm-hmm. So he's why? Ender's then why don't you quit? And he's because I love the game. And it's okay. And so, they just kind of talk for a little bit, and they talk about Ender's family, and it's not that important. So Ender ends up in his launchy practice room thing, and Bonzo and a bunch of older kids show up, and they're gonna kick his ass, but Ender ends up kicking Bonzo's ass. He breaks somebody's arm again, I think, or their leg. And then he plays his little game again, remember the one with the giant. And this time the snake unweaves itself, and Ender fucking kills it. Steps on its head, crushes it, which is such a gross vision.
One of my least favorite things.
I got bit by a snake.
Really? What kind of snake?
Good.
A rat snake.
Oh, it's not bad.
No, it was
Rat
fine.
snake bat bite for
A rat.
a rat.
A little rat.
I'm a part of the rat army.
With Rose Denos in charge. As he's trying to find his way out of this room with the snake dragging behind him, he finds a mirror. And in the mirror, he doesn't see himself. He sees Peter with blood dripping down his chin and the snake's tail protruding from the corner of his mouth. Okay. And Ender freaks the fuck out and starts to beat the mirror up, but nothing will happen. And finally, the words just appear, play again. And Ender's
I'm good.
bro, what the fuck? And so basically at that point he kind of decides I'm the guy who's gonna beat the shit out of this war. I'm fine. I'll do it. Which is dumb. And then we learn about Locke and Demoth's Demosthenes. Yeah, I can barely say the name. Demosthenes. Basically what this is Ender's two other siblings, Peter and Valentine. They're now 12 and 10, so Ender's, thank you, quick mouths. And Valentine's worried about Peter. He is skinning animals alive and watching them die. He's gone full psychopath mode, which is kind of funny because she's lighting fires, which is another one of the, like, triad of sociopathy, is bedwetting, killing animals or harm to animals, and lighting fires.
Fires are chic, though.
Yeah, no, I get fires.
Animals, not so much.
Like,
it's
animals,
a very
like, I
feminine,
don't get it.
like,
No,
beautiful.
Like, I understand, yeah.
Arsonist, you have a pass with us.
Yeah, like...
Valentine.
Arsons, we connect.
Arsonist, we get you.
God. But they had moved to, like, the parents are starting to realize Peter's a sociopath. But Peter comes out...
Just beginning to
Wasn't he,
notice.
like, killing shit at 2?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
But he comes up to Valentine...
Boys being boys.
Right. What are we gonna
What
do?
can you do?
He comes up to Valentine one day and he's like, I have a proposal for you. And he basically proposes that he wants the both of them to have online personas of Locke and Demoth.
Demoth.
Yeah, Demoth. It's better than Dink. Yeah. Demoth. He wants them to have these political personas, completely anonymous, and he wants them to write, like, political pieces on the state of the world. So eventually he can become the leader.
Ruler.
Yeah, the ruler of the world. It's like the hegemon or something like that. And Valentine's like, what the fuck? We're literally 12 and 10. Like, that's so fucking weird. And he's like, he like cries and he's like, please do it for me. And she's like, fuck. And she's like, fine, okay, I'll do it. Like, she feels the sympathy for him, which is exactly what he wanted. So they start writing political pieces, and they start getting very, very popular to the point where, like, their dad is reading their work at the dinner table and is, like, talking to them about it.
You guys should really get into
Yeah.
this stuff.
I think this is Peter's biggest slay.
Yeah, good
Literally,
for Peter,
he did
honestly.
really well.
No, yeah, we're proud of Peter.
I like this storyline for him.
For
Growth.
Peter. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
definitely, like, at least he's not, like...
Better than skinning animals.
Yes, and so Peter kind of, like, runs this whole thing, and he decides that Locke is going to be, like, more of a Bernie Sanders type, whereas Demoth is going to be more of a Trump style. So, like, we fucking hate everything, like, the Russians are going to come fucking attack us, whereas Locke is like, hey guys, let's fucking chill for 1 second.
Okay.
So Peter's Locke and she's Demosthenes, whatever.
So they had a flipped person.
Yeah, so Peter wanted that flip so that when they found out, like, he could be like, it's me, Peter. And then one day at school, Graf shows up for Valentine. She's like, who the fuck are you? And he's all fat now. And she's like, you're fat. And basically...
Has to be touched on.
Yeah, literally. It's like Twilight, where they're like, the fat vampires are the lady vampires who gave birth.
There's fat vampires? I don't remember.
Just 2. They describe Esme as kind of, like, curvy, because she's 2 days postpartum. Well, and he's like, we need your help. And she's like, why the fuck should I help you? And he's like, talks her into it. But basically, Ender is, like, slacking off now at school, and they need her to write him a letter to make him feel like he's doing the right thing. And so she does, and she feels terrible that she's gonna do it, but, like, she's gotta, like, trick him, I guess. And basically, you know, the letter's like, you're not Peter. Like, he's still an asshole. Like, you're still your own self. And this kind of pisses him off because, like, how dare she get brought into the military game and, like, his mess. Yeah. But he knew that it was from her. Yeah. And that made it special to him. So he opens up the fantasy game again, the one where she saw Peter. And he sees the serpent again, the snake, and instead of killing it that time, he gives it a little kiss. Right on the mouth.
I hate that so much more.
And how about this? It turns into Valentine, his sister.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
And he freaks out because that must have meant that he was killing his sister every time he killed the snake.
Oh. I don't know if that symbolism tracks.
What?
Does it?
Yeah, like, he was killing the snake because the snake looked evil,
You'll just be reading, like, any story, and then just suddenly incest.
Yeah, literally.
Like, it'll just appear out of nowhere.
Like, it could have just been like I'm not gonna kill you. And the snake turned into, and instead it was a little, let's kiss.
Interesting.
So, then he feels that everything's a little bit better. And the next day at school, Valentine's opens a letter from the army, and apparently she had won a medal for this. And the doctor she's talking to is like, was it good or bad news? And she's like, I sold my brother out, and they paid me for it, which really upsets her. But then that night, her online character, Demosthenes, writes a very intense paper on how a third child is, like, the best child you can have, and that they need to stop, like, the population
limit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's interesting.
I think it's weird they have free access to the internet.
Yeah,
you
you
would
would
think
think
they'd have a lock
it would
on
be very
that.
heavily censored.
Well, so what happens is they have, like, a child thing, but they go through their dad, and they get, like, a secret persona set up. And then that secret persona then got, like, Locke gets picked up by an actual publishing agency.
Oh, so it's...
And then they give her an anonymous, or they give Demosthenes an anonymous, like, online
Forum or
persona.
something.
Yeah, and she's just making absolute bank, too.
I guess maybe they just have VPNs or something.
Yeah, it's probably a
Future.
VPN. It's a future
Sponsored
VPN.
by Surfshark.
Please, somebody sponsor us. That'd be great. So then the next step is that they're very, the, like, guys are talking, and they're like, 9's a little young to be doing this. But basically, they're going to give Ender his own army at the age of 9.5.
Sounds like a great plan.
11 is usually when they would get it.
'Cause you're much more mature at 11.
Yeah.
9 and 11-year-olds, huge difference.
Huge difference.
He had been in Petra's army for a while, but he's getting transferred to Dragon Army. And they'd never heard of Dragon Army because
Petra
it had...
has her own army?
Yes, she has Phoenix Army.
That's kind of
But
sly.
why would Orson Scott Card write about that? Insane faith. She's a
Yeah.
woman.
I shouldn't have even
Yeah, women,
asked.
ick.
But don't worry, Graf's really fat, guys. So he's fat this time. Okay?
Fatty fat graph.
Just so we all know. Just so we're all aware.
He's big and fat now.
Big fat graph.
Just so we all know.
Big fat chunker. Chunker. So, cats. He is given the colors and his new army, and he immediately goes into, like, blah 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 mode, like military man mode. And he kind of is a hard ass. And he sees this just absolutely teeny tiny kid. That's Bean. Like, Bean is small. Like, I don't even have, like at the age of 6, he looks like a 2-year-old. He's tiny.
Okay.
So Ender immediately starts picking on this kid the same kind of way that he got picked on, like isolating the kid.
Style.
And Ender is beating himself up. He's like, why the fuck am I doing that? He feels horrible. He's like, what am I doing? But this little kid is smart as fuck, of course, and so they orient. This is important, that the enemy's gate is the direction down. Just remember that.
Okay.
And so this kid goes, my name's Bean, and he goes, is that for size or for brains? And they're like, ha ha ha.
Good
It's like,
one.
Got him.
Set him up.
It's like, actually his name's Bean because he eats bean. He ate a lot of beans. He doesn't have a name.
Aww.
They just found him with, like, a can of baked beans.
I like
No, he
my
named
name
himself
Bean.
Beans because he liked
He's
beans.
a big
Aw,
bean fan.
That's really
Because when he was living on the
cute.
streets.
Good
Big
for
bean guy.
Big bean guy.
Big Bean has control over Bean.
He's really tiny. And he dies at age 25. Because he grew
Seems
too
like it's
tall.
pretty old for them, relatively.
Well,
Relatively very old for being 25.
yeah, considering he's like 6 and 9.5 right now. After practice, Bean's like, don't fucking do that to me. Like, I'm gonna be one of your tune leaders. And Ender's like, literally fuck off. And they just like kind of argue. But like in like a more friend way.
Banter.
Yeah.
He's no bonzo.
Yeah, he's no bonzo.
Thank God he's no bonzo.
No botho.
Bonzo.
So, basically, at the end of this, like, Ender's, like, he's furious. They had given him a completely, like, new army with no veterans in it. So, like, nobody had ever been in an army before. He's teaching all of them. Yeah, you're right. Bunch of launchies. And, he's realizing now, like, he really, truly has no friends now. Which is...
Did he
ever? Yeah, I was gonna say, like, did he ever?
Well, Eli was his friend.
Oh. Been a while, though.
Oh, yeah, the kiss. I remember.
Yeah, so... The next bit, they're talking, like, the military guys are talking, and they're like, we have to start giving him his battles. And the dude's like, it's been 3 weeks. We usually wait, like, 3 months before giving them a battle. And he's like, we don't really have time to spare. The buggers are going to come kill us. So then they get their first battle, and, you know, they win. And, like, they really kick their ass.
What's this battle look like? They're going out there into space or what?
So
I can describe it a little more.
Zero gravity tank kind of. Is it that one where they're like jumping around and like just fucking?
Yeah, they just have like this big room, zero gravity, and they have like it's like laser tag but with gravity. And when you get shot, you like freeze.
Yeah, and you just like float around.
Yeah, and since it's zero gravity, like you have to work on like your angle your body's gonna be because you're just gonna keep going and stuff like that.
Battles against other kids.
Yeah,
other armies. They're shooting each other with the laser.
No buggers.
No buggers
No,
involved.
not yet.
No.
So they do all this. Ender kicks their ass, and where am I? Yeah, he just ends up with a really good ranking. Like all of his teammates have great rankings. All of his army members have like top tier, and which is like in a school like this where everything is. Like, what am I ranked?
Right.
Like them being, thank you, Maria.
Yeah, there's like a strict hierarchy going on.
Yeah, the fact that Ender's number 1, his army's number 1, and then he eventually says something along the lines of like, they would have to go 17 names down to find another person who's not in Dragon Army. But out of the 50 people in the top 50, or 40, every single member of his army is in the top 50.
Wow.
And there's 40 members, so there's only 10 people in the top 50 who aren't his.
Yeah.
So he's kicking their asses, and people are getting very mad. And Ender's starting to get mad because they're starting to, like, cheat. Like, the, like, commanders are starting to cheat. They're giving him double...
They're making the games unfair.
Yeah, so remember how I said earlier, they're, like...
Groff wanted that.
Yeah, so they're giving him, like, 2 armies at once, 2, like, battles in the same day, when usually they would have, like, 2 weeks in between battles. They're giving, like, the one army gets all the time, like, 10 minutes before them to hop in. So, like, they're getting a lot of cheating. And so they're very upset.
It's interesting that everyone's getting mad at everyone for doing really well when you would think you would be like, yay, we're not going to die.
Yeah, yay, we have a winner here.
We have people who can beat the buggers' asses.
Or that they're all getting mad at Ender. But I think that also speaks to the fact that they're literal fucking children.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to think in the abstract until you turn, like, 12. But when they see Ender being an asshole, they're kind of like, that's the thing that's being an asshole. Whereas it's like, well, I mean, yes, but no.
He's doing it in, like, a cool...
Yeah.
Like in a collective leadership way.
Yeah, like in a, I have to do this.
Like in a chosen one.
Very
like
chosen one vibes.
Like martyr vibes.
Yeah.
Like if I have to, then
I will.
I will.
So remember how I was saying, like, Ender only sees the game, and Bean's over here, like, sneaking through ducts in the school system to, like, get to the teacher's computers. Like, he's like, this isn't a game.
Bean is fucking scrappy.
Well, he's tiny. He's the literal only one. They find out it's Bean because he's the literal only one who can get there because he's so small he can fit in the ducts. So, the next conversation we overhear of the adults is Colonel Graff getting like told
fatter.
off.
He just keeps
getting fatter.
Fatter. No. He's big fat. Actually, they do discuss his fatness.
Once again,
that would be included.
Naturally.
But basically, this other guy is like, hey, isn't Ender, like, the best chance we've got? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, so you can see how I'm confused because you know there's a murder plot against him from another student in the school, and you're just, like, letting it go. And he's like, yeah. Another guy's like, so,
what the fuck is up with that?
Let Ender deal with it.
Literally, Graff's like, we have to see how he'll deal with it.
Let's just see how it plays out.
Yeah.
A little coup d'etat.
Just a little teeny one. And they're like, you'll be court-martialed. And he's like, and? Which is like,
what about it?
it's like military policing stuff. So, like, he'll be put in jail pretty much.
He'll be put in military police. Yeah.
He's like, those are my bros.
Yeah.
I'll get out of
Those
here.
are
Or
my
vibing. So, you know, Bean and Ender are getting along, and out of nowhere, Ender gets a note that says, "Don't be alone ever," from Dink. Just like, And he feels glad, at least, to know that Dink is still his friend,
Dink's
which
got
is like,
his back. We like Dink. Right?
yeah, we
Yeah, we're
really
Dink
like Dink.
stands.
You know,
I'm a
they keep
Dinker.
winning.
I'm a big Dink head.
Kind of a Dink Meeker fan. I'm a Meeker. So, no, one day he is finally alone. So kind of everyone realizes what's going on. And so, like, his army never leaves him alone. People try not to leave him alone. But he ends up alone one day. And he sees, like, he's in the showers, he's, like, 10 by this point, all naked. And a bunch of other boys, he's, like, soaping up. And a bunch of other boys come in. And he's like, fuck. And, you know, Bernard, his first bully, and then Bonzo are there. And he's like, fuck, like, I have to talk Bonzo into only fighting, like, just us two, because if it's a group thing, I'm gonna get fucked. And so he, you know, he's like, okay, like, Bonzo and I are gonna fight, so they start squaring up, and then Dink's outside, and it's Dink, he's like, please, like, don't hurt him, and it's like, oh, I got, like, little chills. And he's like, you can't hurt him because he's the best, that's, like, who else is gonna kill the buggers, that's why it matters, and it's like, he's right.
Dang.
And Ender's thinking, he's like, fuck, like, that's the exact opposite of what Bonzo needed to hear. That's why he doesn't like me. He knows that's who I am. It's the same reason Peter didn't like him. Like, they all know that. So they start fighting. And eventually Bonzo gets him in a, like, arms around him with Ender's back of his head against Bonzo's face. Mm-hmm. And Ender jumps up and cracks Bonzo in the face with the back of his head, which is a lot of force, and Bonzo starts staggering backward, bleeding, and he's in pain, and he knew that at this moment he could, like, walk out, but the same reason he knows that he won't lose, or he won't win, so he jumps up and fucking kicks Bonzo in the belly and chest, and, you know, kicks again and keeps kicking. And Bonzo's not even crying out in pain. He's gone. And he doesn't react at all except for his body rising in the air. And somebody's like, my God, like...
Though it's fun, because they're all like, I can't believe he's killing him.
Yeah,
when we
like,
came in the shower room
to
to
kill
kill
him.
him.
Also, they say "my God" word for word.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's not good. We don't like gods here.
They better fuck off. Like, they're gonna get... But Dink ends up leading him, and he's like, are you okay? Are you alright? Like, I was so worried about you. And, you know, Ender's like, they meant to kill me. And he's like, I don't want to hurt him. I just wanted him to leave me alone. And it's like...
Poor little Endy.
So he still, at the same day, gets another battle, and he's like, "Can I have one
kidding me?
fucking break?"
Just one moment to myself.
And this battle is a battle with two armies, so it's like crazy to them. And Ender's just fucking done. So he goes, "Bean, lead the way."
You got
Okay, Bean.
Bean, step up to the plate.
Come on, Bean.
Yeah.
Let's see how it rolls.
And they kick their ass. Yeah, Faye.
I thought it was good.
I thought it was alright. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's
So
roll, Bean. Let's roll, Bean.
they do all that, and, you know, they win, but it was their biggest loss, but they win. And Ender's like, I beat you again, sir, to Major Anderson, who's just, like, another dude who works with Colonel Graff. And he's like, nuh-uh. And, you know...
Wait, Bean won?
Yeah, Bean won.
How?
Go Bean. Just by being Bean.
But they beat them, and, you know, Ender's pissed. He's done. He's like, I'm not fucking fighting. He's like, I'm not. And he calls Bean into his room by himself, and he's like, Bean, you're my friend. And Bean's like, what the fuck's going on? And Ender just starts crying.
Aww.
And Bean's like,
I didn't know that was allowed here.
Is this allowed?
I don't know if this is necessary commentary, but Ender is a Libra, and I know that. And
You know that?
You
Yeah.
just feel it for him.
Okay.
He's a
Libra.
I believe you.
I don't know if that helps anybody in the audience, but
Let's
just
see
so
if
you
we can
know.
get a fact check on this.
Yeah,
I don't think
right.
there's dates, are there? Ender's a Libra.
Ender's-
Continue.
During this conversation, Ender gets a note that he's been graduated 2 or 3 years early.
Congratulations.
But he's not going to, like, the typical schools. They would send them to tactical, navigational support, or pre-command for another 3 years. Instead, he's going straight to command school.
How old do you have to be to go to command
16.
school? Oof!
He's maybe 10.
11 or 10. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 10 at the oldest. So he's going there, and he's like, I know I'll be a good commander, but he's, like, uncomfortable. And eventually, like, he's in the shuttle, and he just, like, it's him and 2 other guys, and they're just vibing. No birthday?
No
Phone?
facts.
Okay.
Libra.
And Ender gets a short landside leave, so he gets to go back to Earth for a bit. And we overhear the guys talking again, and basically he was, like, Bonzo was straight up murdered. Like, Ender just...
Only we hear this conversation.
Only we.
Okay.
Or Ender doesn't know that he's killed anybody. He has a feeling that he killed Bonzo. I mean, he cracked his... Like, the first hit is what killed Bonzo.
He just kept going on his ass.
Because he knew he had to win. So
Yeah.
he bonked Bonzo's nose into his brain.
That is in Twilight. That is what Bella's mom teaches her.
Yeah.
When, bop! Yeah.
Right up.
Fifth heel of the hand and the nose.
Which is what you should do. What if I...
She's practicing.
Oh, okay.
I would just ask them to leave me alone.
Oh, that
I would just simply diplomatically handle
I don't know why
situation.
anyone... Nobody tries that nowadays.
Did you try...
Did you try
Did you ask them to just, like...
I'm sorry.
Walk away?
Did I get in the way of
Hey
your
guys,
knife?
I need some space.
You're a little close. Okay.
Personal bubble.
The next chapter, we hear Valentine coming. She's getting invited to the place where Ender's been staying. He's been on the seat, like, back home for, what, 3 months now.
3 months?
And he fucking hates the Earth. He's like, it's not circular like I'm used to. The gravity's weird. The clothes are weird. There's no other people here. He's like, it's fucking weird.
That's funny.
And he's kind of, like, given up. He's like, I think I'm good to, like, stay here. And they're like, fuck. So they bring Valentine in, and he's made, like, a little raft. He's got a little raft on this little lake. And he just brings her out, and they just, like, talk. And she feels horrible because she ends up saying, like, some really shitty things to him, to Ender, that convince him to go back to the school.
What are the POVs like in this game? Like, does it have, like...
It doesn't really have, like, the noticeable change, so, like, it's just got, like, the line break.
Oh, so it's just kind of like the...
Does it
you
switch
can read
to first
everyone's
person?
thoughts.
No.
It's third person all the way through.
Yeah, and you can, like, this is text is a little bit different than the
What
other
is that?
text.
Third
That's
person omniscient.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's second person, I bet. No, I think you're right. I can't do... I don't really know.
POV is when you say you.
Yeah, so she's convinced him to go back, and she's, like, upset that she's done that, but she also knows that it's for the right, because he is the only one that can save humanity, and that's upsetting, but, like, it is what it is.
I'm gonna be honest here, it doesn't seem like the buggers are that pressing of a matter.
Yeah, if we've gone through, like, this many... Well, yeah, that's...
Are they like...
This
You'll
ends
see.
up... Yeah,
Okay.
you'll see.
Maria knows. You'll see.
Okay, I'll see.
So he goes to command school, and it's like this tiny little, not tiny, I guess. It's an old asteroid called Eros, and it's been blacked out. It's like all kinds of fun stuff. So he goes in there, and it's like kind of crazy, and he learns all this kinds of science crap. He's learning like astrophysics. Again, he's 10 or 11. It's like, okay.
Okay, as you should.
He learns that the buggers will arrive within the next 5 years. And he's, like, scared of that, but he's ready to do his best. Like, he spent 3 months on Earth. He realized he loves Earth. He sees why he's fighting to save. Like, what he's fighting to save. You know, he'd been up in space for...
He was disconnected
Yeah,
from his
5
roots.
years. He didn't even really love anybody but Valentine, which is, like, another sociopath thing. But anyways. They have to figure out, like, what they're gonna do. And Ender's like, what? He's like, I want to understand the buggers. Why are they doing this? And Graf's like, I don't fucking know.
They're bugs.
Yeah, he's like, fuck am I supposed to know? And they're like, Ender's like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to defeat them? I don't know what or who they are.
Is.
So then we overhear that Ender's getting a new teacher. And after about a year of like simulation training and all kinds of stuff, he's doing like fighter games, not like the same, like more like computer style games than like physical battle room games. Mm-hmm. And he's like frustrated because he doesn't talk to people. He doesn't really do anything except for like school, the gym, and these games. But he's like, is anything gonna get harder? He's like, I'm bored. And Graf's like, bet. Ender wakes up the next day and there's like a fucking dude in the room. And it's the oldest dude that Ender's ever seen. He's like 60.
He's like 35.
The mortality rate isn't great in this.
He's like, oh my god. And this guy's not talking, but Ender's locked in his room. He's like, what the fuck? So he just starts vibing, doing exercises, and hanging out. And then this guy just like...
With the 6-year-old
just
watching
vibing, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then the 6-year-old just like attacks him and puts him on his back. And he's like, I surprised you once. Why didn't you get me? And he's like, okay. And he just like learns from this guy. And we learn that this is Mazer Rackham. So I haven't said it yet.
This is late in the game to introduce a new character.
Well, he's not really a new character. Mazer Rackham is the guy who won the second invasion. So the second invasion was 70 years ago, but based on space travel shit, I'm not going to get into it because it'll make my mind go a little crazy. He's only 60 at that point.
Okay.
So he's Mazer Rackham. He's the guy who won the last invasion. And Ender has been studying the buggers. He's been studying Mazer Rackham's battles, the first battles. He wants to know what's going on. Ender's like, why are you dead? And he's like, science, reason. And he's like, okay. And so Mazer's like, you're going to be the next, like, thing. And he learns all about these buggers. And Mazer Rackham suggests that they are like the bugs we know. They have a queen. They have, like, worker bees and stuff. So it's like that. And Ender's like, why don't we know about this? And Mazer Rackham's like, because nobody fucking believes me. But basically the way Mazer Rackham killed them is he shot this one ship. And all the other buggers went, like,
Bye.
Dead. Yeah, they just, like, brain dead because he had killed their queen.
Hive mind moment.
Yeah, so
We get that.
been there.
We understand.
So he had killed their queen, and he's like, nobody believes me, and basically they just like go through that. So then a little while later, about like a year, so he's about 12 now, he gets a new simulator, and he has this new toy called the Little Doctor Device. And basically what'll happen is if things are within close range, they'll just like bounce off and just like turn it into dust because of molecules. I don't know.
Okay,
It'll just molecule moment. Yeah.
Just, you know. Fine. So now he's got these new people, new squadron leaders he works with, but he still can't see them. He's like isolated in a little room. And the first thing he hears when he puts the headset on to meet his new squadron leaders is Salam. From a lie, the guy who gave him a kiss on the cheek.
Is it actually
It
him?
is, it's a lie. And then he hears next, he goes, and me, the dwarf. Bean. Yeah.
Beanie.
And he
Classic
hears
Bean.
all the people that he got really close to. He hears Dink, Petra, Crazy Tom, some names I haven't mentioned. But he's like, I didn't know you were here.
It's like a sitcom. They all just
yeah, they're like, hey!
and it's me.
And it's me, Hot Soup, the Asian character.
Okay.
Okay.
It just
There's not even
Yeah.
much commentary we can give
What
to
can
that
you
one.
say
It
about
is
it?
what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, so, you know, he starts doing fucking
Hot
simulation.
soup?
yeah, no, like I just can't even like fathom.
His name's Han Su,
Do you
but they're
think,
like, hot soup.
Do you
And
think it like in this guy's head he's like, oh, they'll never see this one coming? like,
literally,
each time he does.
It's like J.K. Rowling naming the Asian character Cho Chang. It's like,
Literally.
no, like,
I'm so woke.
there are more names than that. Like, come on, girl. It's like, come on, Orson. You don't have to name like them like that, man. Like, come on.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, so they start these simulations, and Mazer Rackham's like, oh, I'm gonna make this next simulation. You're gonna be so hard. You're never gonna be able to do this. And, you know, they start like these children, because Petra's maybe 3 years older than him. He's 12, so they're 15 at the most. Like, still a baby, kinda. I know, how old are you guys? 21 now? 22?
22, yeah.
Yeah, so. Not
21.
21.
Are you sure?
No, it could be either or.
Okay.
You're right. So they start fighting, and they're, like, stressed as fuck. You good, Faye?
Are you sure? That
To the-
sounded so gutsy, I'm sorry.
To the point where, like, some of them start to pass out. Like, Petra passes out. Like, she's been worked so
Is she
hard.
not playing video game?
They are, but it's
on
like,
the computer, like tick, 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 tick,
yeah,
or,
but
like,
you also have
fighting.
to think of everything. It's computer games. Like,
Just big brain.
Yeah, like they have to think, how
activities.
fast is my ship going? How much fuel are they using? How many missiles do they have left? How many ships do I have going where? And how do I get them to do this? You know,
Okay.
all this brain work they're doing. Does that make
Okay,
sense?
so Petra's just a pussy and she's a girl, so she passed out.
That is literally, she passes out first. So I mean, the others
Because of her
keep
delicate sensibility.
Yeah, it's
she's kinda-
probably hard
Poor
in her
thing.
position.
And Ender starts having these really fucked up dreams of like the buggers and like that weird giant body and all of his friends. And he's like, what the fuck? And so he's like, the computer's cheating. Like, you guys are giving me really hard battles. And Mazarakan's like, and you're still winning every single one. What the fuck do you want me to do? So, you know, he just keeps having these. They're all tired. And they just, you know, it gets to the point where Ender has to be told to eat. He has to be told to sleep. You know, he's just like,
Machine.
yeah, he's like kind of numb machine. Like, he's 11, 12. Like, he's a baby.
Well, he's getting old.
Yeah, and right? Like, oh, yikes.
It's been a long career for him already.
And then we get the hint as the reader that this will be his last day in command school, but we don't know why yet. So, and Mazer Rackham's like, tomorrow is going to be your biggest battle yet. Like, fucking fire it up. And, you know, he gets there, and there are other people, like, in the room. And he's like,
It's like, watch on.
yeah, he's like, what the fuck's going
Yeah, I
on?
remember this part.
It's kind of stressful, makes me sad. And he's like, Ender, like, pay attention to me. Today's game needs some more explanation. So today's game, they have a planet involved, and they'd never fought, like, near or around a planet. And it's their final examination. And Ender's like, am I the first student to make it this far? Because he's just like a kid. He's like,
he has no
did
idea.
I win? And Mazer's like, yeah.
Sure, buddy.
Okay,
You're
kid,
killing it.
you fucking won. And so he's like, okay. And he's stressed. Like, he can't even think. He gets on the headset, and he's like, just nothing. And we actually know from Bean's perspective, because Bean's perspective happens at the same time, Bean's actually, again, been prepped to take over for Ender. So he's like, am I gonna have to fucking take over for Ender? Bean knows what's happening, Marie. You know what's happening. Faye, you'll hear soon.
I don't know what's happening.
Okay, I believe you. You don't have to say it. I believe you, yeah. So, Bean's, like, prepped, and he's like, Ender's not saying anything. What's going on? And out of nowhere, you know, Bean just kind of goes, hey, man, the enemy's gate is down, which is, like, the first thing Ender had taught them in battle school. Sets Ender right into gear. He starts telling folks where to go, fucking shit around. They kick ass. They absolutely destroy this fucking planet. They hit the little doctor on the planet, and the whole planet turns into dust. And everybody erupts into cheers behind him, like the whole group of actual adults. And Ender's like, yo, what the fuck's going on? And Ender's like, and they're like, you did it, boy. You made the hard choice. Like, you won. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, you beat them. And Ender's like, I beat you. And Mazer Rackham's like, no, you just beat the buggers. All of them. You killed all of the buggers. That was their home planet. And you killed all of our people because all their ships got exploded. And Ender's like, again, 12 years
12
old.
years old, like,
Ender, no es solo un juego.
He's like, what? He's like, you won every battle. That
Wait,
was
so are
the
they
third.
controlling ships that have their real soldiers in them?
yeah.
So why would they need real soldiers in them?
Well, it's
To do the battleships were sent 70 years ago. They're controlling time stuff. So the ship was sent 70 years ago to the home planet, and it just got there in their time then.
time.
Time stuff, Faye. Don't
So
think
why
about
do
it
they
too
need
much.
the kids then? If there's
To be
people
the
in the
commander.
Yeah. Because they just sent their, like, grunt soldiers.
Yeah, just like what?
Whatever
People of color, some
Well,
youths.
to be completely fair, these people in the ships,
They knew what was gonna happen.
their families are long dead.
Yeah, Mazer Rackham's
Yeah.
like, my children are dead. By the time I got back, all my kids and my grandkids had died, and my great-grandkids were my age.
No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, those people had nothing to lose.
They knew what they
Whatever.
were signing up for, and if they
Yeah.
didn't, it didn't matter because they were in space already by the time they knew.
We love genocide.
So yeah, Ender killed all of them, and he's like, and he's so upset his mind can't cope with it all, he just goes to sleep. Just gets in his bed and goes to sleep. And by the time he wakes up, they're like, Ender, we gotta go. Like, there's a war happening now on Earth. We have to go. The Russians are gonna take over. We're on a planet with a lot of Russians. We gotta go. And Ender goes, leave me alone.
Just let me sleep.
He's literally tired.
Yeah, he's literally
just
tired.
so tired.
And he can hear, like, the two of them having a discussion, and Graf's like, I love him, like, he's a kid, like, and it's like, yeah, but you fucked him up, like,
fuck him
you
up
ruined
bad.
this
that doesn't matter.
Okay, Dumbledore.
Literally.
Your love means nothing.
Like,
Fuck you.
No, I had to make him feel like he...
It's like, you didn't, though.
You didn't.
Ender would have been fine with friends.
No, if you saw it from his perspective,
You would
I
know.
think you would understand.
I see, we see it from two perspectives, and because Bean was allowed to have friends. Bean had a best friend, who turns out to be his actual embryonic brother.
Wow.
Doesn't that just mean brother?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Well, like, bio
Yeah,
brother.
but
Okay.
I just didn't say bio, I said it weird.
Science.
Because I was thinking how Bean was an embryo.
Science. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna keep going because we're almost done. So he wakes up to Sweet Eli saying salam again.
Oh,
And he learns that there's like a literal war going on in their ship stuff.
pick
and
a struggle.
I know, right? He's a kid,
Pick
just
a
let him go to
struggle.
sleep.
I know, dude, now you have to kill all the Russians.
But basically they end up deciding that Ender is not gonna go home. So they start going, like, these kids start going home. So now there's a war on Earth, and Petra makes a joke, and she's like, what are they gonna do? We're kids, they probably have to send us to school or something.
God.
And they all laughed, and they all end up also crying at the same time. Because literally the only one of them, maybe two of them knew. Bean 100% knew what was going on. He knew Ender was committing the genocide.
Why did they tell Bean everything?
Bean figures it out.
Yeah, no, Bean's just, like, smarter
Bean
than
is
Ender.
infinitely smarter. So now what they're doing is, Graf was fine. He got off basically during the, like...
Fuck Graf. I don't care
What's
if
it
he's
called?
fine.
Judge, jury, prosecution.
Lawsuit?
Why did they prosecute him?
Because he ended up having 2 kids die on his watch. Stilton and
Because he just
Bonzo.
let
He let Ender do
kill
that,
some
and like
kids.
the evilness of what he did to Ender, but he got off.
Oh, I thought they were all cool with that. They didn't like it?
No.
They weren't into it?
There was a larger conspiracy to make him, like, be super self-sufficient and not have anyone, like, support him, but then, like, he independently
Graf
just made it
the
much
decision.
worse.
Graf was like Ender's like carer, and like Anderson is Bean's carer, and they both do things very differently.
Oh, God.
Graf's ended up with 2 children dead. Anderson's ended up with 0 children dead.
We can't really judge by that.
Yeah, no, kids dying, kids
die.
not dying.
Kids die every day.
Yeah, whatever. It's fine.
It is what it is. Basically what they start doing is, now that all the buggers are dead, they have all these planets that are colonized, and they're like, let's go to those. So Ender's just fucking chilling on Eros when all of a sudden Valentine is there. And she's like, hey, it's me.
Nice to see
Hey.
She's like, hey, you want to go to a planet with me and colonize it? And Ender's like, no, that sounds like a lot of work. I'm tired.
Why would Valentine want to colonize a planet?
Because she's trying to keep Ender away from Peter. Peter had revealed himself, who he was, and his plan was to have Ender come down and be his right-hand man.
Was Peter not the dead kid at the beginning?
No, Peter's his brother.
Peter's his brother.
Hey.
We've been recording for a long time, everybody.
It's been
It's okay.
It's been 2
We're getting
hours.
close. So they start, they go, and when they're on the home planet, Ender starts having these crazy dreams. And eventually he is like flying over with a helicopter, and he sees the giant from the game. The like rib cage and
IRL.
in the like, what's it called? Planet. Yes.
Fairyland.
Yeah, he sees Fairyland, and he's like hanging out, and he's like, yo, what the fuck? Because the thing is, the big miscommunication between the buggers and the humans is that the buggers only communicated with their mind. They didn't have any written language. They had literally no reason to communicate outside their mind, so they didn't know how to write. So this is their attempt to write to Ender.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So what?
What?
Like, Fairyland was their way of being like, hey,
They're writing to Ender, don't kill
us,
us.
please.
Oh.
The snake and Valentine are like that. They're them going into his mind and being like, "We're good.
Don't kill us."
Well, to be fair, they never seemed like they posed that much of a threat.
They
besides
didn't.
Being
Basically, what had
no, they're just
alien.
bugs.
And what we learned, because Ender sees like a queen egg in this like fairyland, so he can like he kind of like mind communicates with her. I don't fucking know. And basically he sees that the buggers knew they were going to get annihilated because they had attacked the humans thinking they weren't sentient. They were just like animals. And then they were like, shit, they are sentient. And then the second attack happened, like the humans attacked the buggers. And then the third attack was the humans annihilating the buggers. And they knew it was coming. They knew they couldn't communicate. So Ender feels horrible. And he writes this book called Speaker of the Dead, where he publishes the buggers' whole story. And eventually on Earth, he becomes the bad guy for that. So, you know, at the end of it, you know, he and Valentine are happy. And he's like, Valentine, we need to go find a place for this egg to colonize. And, you know, that's just kind of how it ends, is him and Valentine looking for a home for the new buggers so he can rectify his past mistakes.
Genociding a whole species and then being like,
Oops.
oopsie.
He didn't know, though.
It was just playing a little game.
He's stupid as fuck.
He literally
knew
is.
immediately. Bean clocked it.
Bean clocked it right off the bat. He clocked that the Earth was getting ready for a battle. Bean's like 6. He clocked it right off the bat.
So I guess the message is from our dear author.
Yeah. Our little
kind
kid.
of go genocide, but also like maybe
Like
fuck with kids.
Maybe the real message from his perspective is like, try out the genocide, see how it feels. You can always come back from it.
Yeah,
true. You can always bring them back.
You can always.
You'll always
try
find a
again.
fertilized egg.
Yeah,
It'll be
life
chill.
persists even if you don't want it to.
That's good, Faye.
Period.
Yeah.
Period. That was good.
And also, if you're Jewish, good luck.
If you're
Cut that.
And we're gonna end that there. I appreciate you guys being here, you goobers. Do you guys want to say anything before
we
we
had
end?
a great time.
Even
Thank
though
you
we're
so much
starving.
for having us.
Yes,
I'm
we're
so
starving.
hungry.
We're gonna come back.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna make a return.
Faye and I are gonna do
make some
Gatsby, and Maria and I are
cameos.
gonna do Warriors.
Yeah.
Totally.
Maria will be back for Warriors. I will not be present for such a book.
We'll do. Oh my god, we should do The Giver.
I love
The Giver's
I read
so
all of them. Have you
good.
read all 4 of them?
No, I didn't move past because I watched the movie and it ruined my
I
passion
remember.
for the book.
Yeah.
I'm gonna choose a book, and y'all are gonna get lit over it.
All right.
So-
Thank you, folks, so much for listening, and good luck to Justin for editing this.
Good
Go,
luck,
Justin.
Justin. Bye.
You should watch
If
Mozart
the
in the
reference
Jungle.
was anything else, it'd be okay. But it's
I didn't
literally
realize how
a
you
reference about the new. It's like a drama show about the New York Symphony.
Yeah,
that we watched with Evan.
It's-
so it's not
It's
an okay.
like a very
niche.
a very niche, very low production show.
Same here.
They get it.
Oh my god, relatable.
I'm like, we're not like other podcasts. We have 4 listeners.
Somebody pop that.
I'm one of them.